Welcome to the Bill Mason Show, this emergency broadcast protest throughout the country. What do you think, Bill?
This is the Purge edition. Most people, if you're
Hmm.
looking out your windows or turning on your news channel, it's almost unbelievable what's going on around you. It's something that you probably didn't expect to be happening right before the summer starts, but here we are.
It's crazy. That was a Purge Siren. Looks like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We have live Hollywood, California, New York, Columbus, Ohio. We
Yeah.
have all over the country here on the screen.
Yeah. Basically, every Democrat run city you could
Mhm.
find, and they're all falling apart at one time.
Right, and they all are Democrat cities. You're right.
They really are. They really are. And the funny thing is that the untethered kind of way that they're handling this is blowing up in their face, and the people that are owning the businesses are like, hey man, I thought you were supposed to protect me, and they're like, no, that's Trump, and they're like, no, that's you.
Hmm.
Because I think the realization now of who's in charge is really hard to hide, and now people are realizing that the president of the United States, as far as governance goes, it really does trickle through your governor, your local mayor. They really do have a lot of pull and a lot of things that affect the outcome of what you deal with, and they have failed in all the major cities.
Oh, they have. And it looks like Washington, D.C. is the most active right now.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, all the cameras are there. I
Mhm.
mean, if you want to be on TV and you want to be irate and angry and blow stuff up and burn it, that's where you want to be because it'll get instantly on prime time.
Yes, it does. So we're looking at all these cities live right now, protests throughout the country. Donald Trump had a great video yesterday. Speech. He was talking about, he was upset about George Floyd's death. He's going to make sure to come to justice, and that guy has been arrested and charged. What else do these protesters want?
I don't know. I don't know what else anyone could do. It's not like there's a faction of white people out there that are saying, "Hey, that cop was in the right."
Hmm.
Everybody who watched the video said the same thing, like, "Wow, that's way too much. That guy's over the top.
Right,
Let's prosecute that guy."
right,
No one is disagreeing with these people.
right,
But I mean, they're using it as an excuse to just go out and randomly beat, loot, pillage, steal,
right,
basically evil in a bottle.
right.
Evil's out of the bottle, and now we see who they are. I
The
mean,
only
it's that.
thing, yeah, the only thing I can think of, they want a 65-inch TV.
Well, I mean, if there's any left. So, uh, there's only so many to go around.
Right.
A Target store typically stocks between $1 and $6 to $8 million.
Hmm.
Based on its population, and I mean, it's not all TV. So,
Right.
my stance on this is what happens when all these stores run out of stuff
Hmm.
and everything's on fire. So now what do you have?
You have
And
nothing.
you don't have anything.
No.
And who's going to come back and fill that Target? No one.
Mm-mm. No.
No one.
They're not going back.
So no. When this is all said and done, I posted it on Twitter. Like, when this is all said and done, and this tantrum, so to speak, is over, the country has to pay for it. I mean, it's something that insurance companies are going to probably need a bailout
Hmm.
for. Me Google searching and hopping around. I mean, $900 billion is just the tip of the iceberg. It could be 2.2 billion if it ends soon. If it keeps going, it just adds up. That doesn't count the local police department, the cars that are being burned. I mean, it's crazy the amount of damage that's being accepted by these Democrat mayors who the reason that Trump is jumping ugly on him is because he's like, how much loss does it take for you to stop it?
Right.
You're not stopping it.
No. You're not. Again, I know what's going to give to have them stop. Everybody has police brutality: white, black, Asian, Hispanic. I don't like it. I know you don't like it.
No.
People have to go to jail, and just like that police officer will go to jail, hopefully.
I mean, sadly, he's on suicide watch.
He is, yes.
Right now, he's in custody. He's on suicide watch. I'm sure they showed him the
Mm,
entire country
right.
in turmoil. And I feel bad for I think his wife filed for divorce like instantly.
Oh,
I feel
wow.
bad for his kids that have to live this down. Who knows what went on there? But I mean, this is something that the trickle down of the 5 year aftermath. I mean, it's still going to be there. This is really really bad for not only local small little governments that are being blown apart by this.
Right.
The bigger governments, the bigger cities are still they didn't have the money before this started. And the problem is that the shutdown from coronavirus, okay, now when these people are going to start to put in claims, the insurance companies, some of the websites I went on today, they're like, okay, well, were you in business at the time or were you not in business at the time?
Right.
So it's like it's going to be such a bunch of rings for them to jump through to get this recovery money.
Oh, yeah.
It's who foots the bill? The federal government, which is us, the insurance companies, which will be us because we're going to have to bail them out. I mean, it's just us, 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 us. So
Mm,
this is a tantrum I have to pay for, and my kids will have to pay for too.
right. Yeah, everybody's going to have to pay for it, and it feels
Yeah,
like somebody's got to go to jail. The,
yeah.
I mean, they're not even social distancing.
At all of a sudden, it's like the coronavirus went, pew,
Yeah,
it's
well,
gone.
it went away.
It went away.
Yeah.
It was like it was weird when they showed the people. They actually showed them on Jacksonville Beach. There was
Mm,
like four people on a beach blanket, and
right.
they were like, "Look at those people, not
Mm,
social distancing."
right.
These people are 1,000 into like a tiny little postage stamp, and they're
Right.
not saying a
I
word.
don't know. I was watching CNN the other day. I was like, you're not saying anything about social distancing. What's going on?
It's out the window. That
Yeah.
doesn't even matter anymore. And if there is an outbreak in 2 weeks
Hmm.
and it happens to be in the African American community, it'll be, oh, Donald Trump mishandled this,
Yeah.
this
It'd be Donald
outbreak.
Trump's fault.
Right. It'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, he should have had more coverage or more respirators. Meanwhile, they're out there beating the crap out of people and stomping all over and spitting on each other. Who
Mm,
knows how this coronavirus is spreading amongst them?
right. Well, I'm looking at the protests right now. I mean, so looks like a lot of people in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Look at that crowd.
Yeah, it's getting big, and the places that haven't erupted early
Mm,
are starting to erupt now. And like for example, my small area of Philadelphia, it erupted early, and now those Antifa people are moving on to these medium-sized towns because this is the next wave. They need to constantly keep this going,
right.
for the biggest effect.
Yeah. So we're gonna play some videos. These videos are horrendous.
Yeah, if you have like a weak stomach and you don't like to see violence, you might not want to watch these because this is America right now. It's very violent.
It is crazy. I'm gonna play a few videos, one
Right.
after another, and we're gonna talk about them afterwards. I mean, this is. You have small children, have them leave the room.
I would not let him watch this. It's
No.
bad.
So we have a Dallas guy waving a sword trying to protect the business. They say he wasn't the business owner, but who cares? He was trying to protect the business. They were
Yep.
after him. They were after him, and it's visibly that they were trying to get him for some reason. So let's take a look and see what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
What they doing?
Stop! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Shit!
Look at your stupid ass! You came out with a sword!
Look at that.
It
That is
just goes to
crazy.
show you, swinging a sword and missing is very dangerous. It's bad.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, you don't bring a sword when you're not good with a sword. I
Yeah.
mean,
Let's take a
and
look
the
at it.
thing,
Let's take a look at another one. This is a trucker. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go. Supposedly they arrested that guy.
Huge mistake. I would never, me personally, because that's what I do for a living too. I would never even stop the truck. I may slow it down to a crawl,
Right.
but the minute you stop, you're done. He put the air brakes on. They opened the door. They were kicking in the windshield.
Right.
I mean, you lost total control of something that you could maintain control for a really long time. There's no reason for you to actually stop. The momentum, the momentum he had, they could climb on the sides for miles for all I care.
Right.
But me personally, I will not stop the truck. I ain't doing it.
No, they should not have stopped the truck at all. I mean,
they could
even
hang
got
on
out of the truck.
They could hang on till I hit the next exit for all I care.
Right.
But I am not stopping. I'm putting that out there. I won't.
Yeah. Supposedly the trucker got arrested for whatever reason, and he got released. So no charges. Yeah. I mean, they're around his truck trying to get at him. I mean, if somebody's trying to get at me and 100 people around me, I'm going to plow through whatever it is to get to the other side.
I mean,
Sorry.
I've seen it happen where it's not a truck. It's just you're in your personal little vehicle, like whatever your 4-door car is, and there's 100 people in the intersection. It doesn't take long for that to get pretty scary, especially if you got kids in the car or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather tell the kids, look at your iPad, kids, while I haul ass through this intersection.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, you run over a couple of feet or something like that. It's something that they shouldn't be doing. It's not justified for any reason. Like blocking, a highway, everybody knows that that's dangerous. Like they're literally pushing the envelope, seeing how far they can go. I saw it in Philadelphia. There's a road called the Vine Expressway. They waited until 5 o'clock in the afternoon to run out and try to stop traffic. The most dangerous thing ever that you could do. Luckily, the people stopped and, they messed up their cars and they scratched the hoods and they did all kind of damage, which they probably won't be held accountable for, because how do you get those people to pay for your hood or your door or whatever? You don't. No. But honestly, like, once you stop, you put yourself in a really weird position. Just the smallest amount of momentum gives you that power. You can still move, go side to side. Hopefully they love their life and their limbs enough to move. Right. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm surprised the guy wasn't hurt worse than he was. I saw a picture
of
him afterwards.
They drug him out of the truck. That is scary, man. Like all those people around you, like ready to kill you. You hear the chants. They were like, "Kill him, he's white." Right. Kill him, he's white. Like all of that stuff. Like I would never put myself in that position. No freaking way, man.
Oh no. I mean, you don't need a sword either. I mean, that Dallas guy with a sword. I mean, if you're gonna protect something, you should have a gun.
Yep.
If somebody tries to go into my business, they're going to get shot.
Yeah. You should have something that you know how to use and you're not afraid to use.
Right.
That's the thing. We've seen it with the guy who pulled out the bow and arrow.
Oh, that was horrible.
I mean, that was a fail. That's a really bad thing. You don't threaten somebody with something that you're not prepared to use.
No.
He wasn't
going to shoot either. You can tell.
He was not going to shoot anyone. No. He wanted to brandish a weapon. I mean, I tell people all the time, I've gotten a few people I know, to buy firearms. I said, look, man, if you're afraid to use this thing, don't take it out because it'll just get flipped on you and used on you.
Right.
So if you're going to brandish this, whatever it is, you better be ready to go.
Right.
Because, if it's you versus them, you still want it to be you, not you give them your weapon. I mean, that's just crazy.
Not only that, if you don't want to kill anybody, shoot at their feet. Hopefully that'll scare him off. If it doesn't scare him off, then move up.
Yeah, I mean, these crowd situations, I've never seen more of a argument for. We've heard throughout the years, like all these like school shootings and stuff, which are horrible. Nobody ever wants their kids to be shot at by anyone
Right.
because they're innocent,
Sure.
but people do go to places where there'll be no pushback. But they always want to take the big magazine that holds 20 or 30 rounds, and they always want to take the rifle that's capable of doing it. But if you see these crowds and these people that are like angry and there really is no mentality to them, you can't communicate with them, then there has never been more of a time where you need those two things in one, and that's the AR-15 with the or the AK-47. I mean, those two things that they have demonized, it's almost as if they knew this was coming. You know what I mean? Because that is the only thing that breaks up crowds like this. You have no shot if you have anything less.
You don't. I mean, the only way to stop that is have like 1,000 people rush after you, and you might be able to get a few of them before they get you. I mean,
Yeah,
so,
and I mean, usually, so in protest situations, it's been proven time and time again. Once a few drop, the BS stops. So once it becomes real, see, it's almost like this video game mentality for this younger generation that's out there rioting. I'm not saying you really don't see a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds out there causing ruckus, is what I'm saying, because you get to a certain age in life and you're like, wow, it's a lot of effort for probably nothing. But when you're 19 or 17 or 21, you don't care. So to them, it's like a video game. They're out there and they feel like they can't die. And as soon as you show them that, like, you could shoot a hole in them, it changes everything. And then, nobody wants to kill a bunch of people, but you put some holes in some body parts, and then all of a sudden the reality sets in, and maybe you go home with your tail between your legs, and you don't die. I mean, these people that are shooting, like I listened to Police Scanner last night, the big difference in Philadelphia from day 1 to day 3 was that the business owners realized that the cops aren't coming. They're not going to save your business.
No.
So it's up to you. So they were sit there at their table or their chair, and when people threw stuff through the window, they would shoot back. And all of a sudden, word got out, oh, don't rob that liquor store, or don't rob that cigarette store, because that guy's shooting. So they move on. And I mean, it worked.
it does work. Yeah.
It works.
You got to show them who's boss, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's what Trump was talking about too. I know maybe I don't know if you want to go to that video later, but I mean, that's exactly what he's talking about. He's not talking about dominating things to be like a macho man. He's talking about a situation where you're losing control.
Right. So again, here at Bill Mason Show, we like a peaceful protest. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind discourse. I think it's something that you should do.
Yes, but we don't like looting and rioting.
No way, man.
No.
That's where you cross the line. Once you destroy someone else's property,
Right.
that's part of the whole life, liberty, and pursuit to happiness. That's the 3 tenets, and you just took away someone else's liberty and pursuit to happiness. So that's where you failed.
Right. I mean, just like, the question you should ask is that, would you like us to go into your home and loot your home?
Nope.
And
Would
the
you like
answer
us
would be
to
no.
just kick your door down, break your windows,
Yeah.
for whatever reason? I'm upset.
Burn your place down. Yeah.
Right.
No.
Because I'm upset. Then it makes me the most important thing in the moment. Like,
Right.
I don't care what you have. I want to break your windows and throw your stuff around your house or whatever it is,
Right. So let's play Trump's speech right now. See what he said yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good one.
I am mobilizing all available federal resources, civilian and military, to stop the rioting and looting, to end the destruction and arson, and to protect the rights of law-abiding Americans, including your Second Amendment rights. Therefore, the following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now. Today, I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them. I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property. We are putting everybody on warning. Our 7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced. Those who threaten innocent life and property will be arrested, detained, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I want the organizers of this terror to be on notice that you will face severe criminal penalties and lengthy sentences in jail. This includes Antifa and others who are leading instigators of this violence. One, law and order, and that is.
There we go. So I don't know. So what do you think? So again, he doesn't want any looting, rioting, and he was horrified about what happened to George Floyd, but they're still blaming him.
Well, the thing about what I talked about earlier, so there's this illusion, I think, to most people that what the executive branch does and what the president does is literally control everything.
Right.
Now, what he's talking about, this insurgency act, okay, you can only really enact that when you have multiple cities with what's called an insurrection, okay? You can't just randomly, willy-nilly throw that out. He had to literally tell these Democratic governors and these Democratic mayors, you better do it or else, because once it gets to the point where I can literally go to Congress and say, hey, 40% of the United States cities are burning. I need to step in. And if they say no and they go on paper as saying no, then now their reelection chances are like zilch, because this is a reality that only the executive branch had to face.
Right.
So these Democratic governors that kind of like kid glove these guys around, and you know, we saw it, and I don't want to say that like this is a cycle of riots, but you know, it seems to be like it's the fuse and the powder keg that when it's white versus black, it's going to kick off a riot. So we saw it with Freddie Gray, and we saw it with the Ferguson, and the same thing happened where those Democratic mayors said, let them blow off steam, let them do the damage.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Baltimore was the tune of like almost $1 billion.
Right.
And then what happens is these Democrat mayors go, please help us. We had a terrible riot. Okay? And guess what happens when the federal government shells out the money? It's me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how long do you tolerate stuff like that? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I mean, how long would this go on? I mean, they're going to keep this up night after night after night?
Right. And I mean, listen, there becomes a thing like, you know, it's the supply chain. And we've talked about it before. There's a supply chain with food. There's a supply chain with medicine, drugs, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with whether your city is functional or not. When your city, like your Minneapolis, it's dysfunctional. Truck drivers are, when they get a load going to wherever, and they say, wait a minute, where's this going? And they're going, St. Paul, Minnesota. And they're like, nope, not me.
No.
And they refuse the load, and it doesn't get there because we have the right to do that, okay? And that's the crazy thing, is that people don't realize your shelves are not getting restocked when you have a war zone and everything's on fire and people are shooting. You can't just order pizzas anymore. You can't go to your food store and get eggs and milk and bread.
Right.
It's done. You killed it. So therefore, you need to like let it settle and suffer and wait to rebuild. And I mean, somebody else has to rebuild it.
Look at that
for you.
Walgreens in Atlanta. I mean, it's boarded up. No one can go in
It's
there.
no one's going there. And what about all the elderly people that relied on that for their medicines, for their their just their daily care, the stuff that they needed? That is now no longer available to them. They're done.
Right.
I mean,
People who work there, they don't work there anymore. They have
Yeah.
to either go somewhere else to work,
Right.
get transferred to another Walgreens. I mean,
Right.
who knows what happens to these people?
And then theoretically, if you're corporate, so everybody demonizes corporations. I personally do not. I understand that corporations are people and they try to put things together. And now you're looking as a corporate Walgreens person and you're going, do we want to rebuild that one? Do we really? Is that really worth it? And now it becomes a thing of, does Walgreens pull out and take all the jobs with it and all of the infrastructure that they had in place? They just say, no, thank you, it's not worth it.
Right.
And then it becomes a chain reaction to all these other cities.
The looter's sister worked there, and now she don't have a job.
And now she doesn't have a job. And it's bad, 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 bad. Layers and layers of bad. So when this, I tweeted out today, when this is all said and done and everything's on fire and everything's has no stock, no food, nobody's going to run. Here's the other thing. Me and another truck driver today were talking about this. Who's going to run gasoline after they saw that guy in the gas tanker? Because that's what he was hauling. He was hauling gasoline.
Right.
Okay. So who's going to haul gasoline into St. Paul or Minneapolis, Minnesota in the next week? Nobody.
No.
So guess what? Now you don't even have gas. You can't leave to go get food in the next town because you don't have gas. This is the most nonsensical thing I've ever seen go on in this country.
Right. Like the truck driver calls George Floyd's death, which did not. So.
Right. He did not, but he also has the right to say, I'm not going to St. Paul or Minneapolis in my truck full of gas because this guy. And they show their boss the video, and then their boss goes, you're right.
Right. Yeah, you're not going there.
You're not going there, and that's it. And then you have no gas, you have no eggs, you have no milk, you have no bread, no prescriptions, nothing. For what? Because you couldn't wait for a court verdict? Unbelievable.
It is crazy. Well, let's take a look at some more videos. Again, these are disturbing videos. We have a woman that got hit, and of course she deserved it. Let's take a look at that one first, and then we're going to go on to another. A captain of the police department was hit from behind in the head. Let's take a look at that one as well.
There's a lot of that going on.
Fuck this nigga about to do.
Damn, yo!
That was her fault, bro. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, yo, I'm about to get out the car, yo. Hold on.
Look at that.
That's what happens when the captain getting hit in the head. I mean, if anybody doesn't know, the guys in the white shirts. I was watching Rudy Giuliani today, who ran a city. He ran New York City, for a turbulent time and pulled it out of the gutter and got it running like nobody ever has. So Rudy Giuliani in New York's standpoint is a hero to New York. And he was talking about when you see New York in a situation like this, no matter who's the governor, no matter who's in charge, the guys in white are the upper ranks of the police department. They are your lieutenants and captains on the street, basically commanding the forces. Okay, so that guy in white that got hit in the head. I mean, there is no bigger wake up call to like maybe that guy who's upper echelon level of law enforcement, that we either need more people or we need to rethink this enforcement engagement that we're doing. And that happened several times in New York City. So de Blasio, who is technically in charge, okay, to an extent, has issued orders for these guys to kind of like, I guess you want to say, pacify. So de Blasio's orders to pacify a situation like that, okay? So in New York City, if you do the numbers, they're already outnumbered 11,000 to like 100. I think that's the number, 11,000 to 100 for law enforcement. It's bad. If things flip and all of a sudden everybody decides law enforcement's the enemy, it's bad. So they have to maintain this illusion, whether it's an illusion or not, of control. And when you lose that, which you watch in these Democrat cities, the illusion of control is gone. And what happens? You have Minneapolis, where they burn the police station to the ground, right, where they start to hit police lieutenants and police captains with bricks and whatever they do. The respect is gone. There is no fear of law enforcement. And now you have this. We have what we're showing on our screens. You have all these cities that are just falling apart because nobody wanted to stand up with a spine and actually put people down and put zip ties on hundreds of people at once, because it's hard. Yeah. It's terrible.
I mean, you need to bring in the buses and just load them all up.
You have to.
Yeah.
And there's a point. It's almost like, with children, I don't want to say this, but with children, there's a point where it's too late. You missed your window to discipline that child, yeah, and now the child doesn't understand why you're disciplining. Right. But if you discipline in the moment, then you could say, look, I didn't want to discipline you, but you did this bad thing. Right. Okay? Now we're way beyond the bad thing, and now it's like the law enforcement aspect is like, what are they going to do? They literally have to wait for these people to like pander out and burn everything to the ground and then come in and be like, yeah, we're in charge again.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more cities on here. So I'm looking around for other cities I can put on here. I
mean, honestly, it's crazy that it's going all over the world.
It is.
That I looked in Perth, Australia, Amsterdam. Yeah. I looked in New Zealand. Yeah. I can't understand what the thing is that makes you want to. I understand the protest, okay? That part is okay. You're like very upset that this black guy got, way too much force put upon him to the point where he died. Mm-hmm. That guy needs to be prosecuted. I get it. But now you're in Australia and you're going to break windows in stores? Come on, man.
That's all orchestrated. The Democrats are orchestrating this all over the world.
Such BS. It makes no sense. Like, you can't proxy someone else's anger. Like they always say, this is the other thing that comes up. So, not to, basically put this racial divide down, but people say, well, you're white. There's no way you can know how I feel. And that's true. That's 100% true. I can't know how a black person feels, but I do know right from wrong. Mm-hmm. I do know that. And I do know what wrong looks like when I see it. Yeah. And when I see it and I go, that's wrong, okay? It's still wrong. Whether you're angry or not, it's still wrong. So guess what? You can judge me on my color. You can tell me I don't know how you feel, but I can still tell you that what you're doing is wrong, and that anybody can. I don't care if you're an 89-year-old grandmother or a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old can look at the TV, and I know this. A 7-year-old can look at the TV and go, "Why are those people doing those bad things to each other?"
Yeah, well, there's racism against white people too.
Right, and all of a sudden, it becomes, well, that's just evil. And that's the only way to explain it to a child who doesn't understand the racial aspect of it. And they just look at it and they're like, well, that's just evil stuff that people are doing.
Right.
And that's all it is at its root. It's just evil. And it's being propped up by Democrats. So when you really look at it and it trickles down, are Democrats evil?
Right. Yes,
I, I mean, honestly,
they are.
you have to ask yourself
There's
who
there's there's evil in their soul. You can see it in their eyes.
who would endorse evil? Who would endorse, late term abortions and, 9-month-old crying babies being able to be aborted? Like, who does that? Democrats do that. The same people who are saying that this is okay.
Right.
I mean, this is just flat out stealing, robbing, looting, pillaging, murder. I mean, it's evil. It's just evil.
I mean, we don't go out and riot when the police kills us and white
No.
people.
You know
We don't.
why?
Yeah, because it's wrong.
Because it's wrong.
Yeah.
And there's recourse. There's kind of like a chain of recourse. Like, I know when I get a ticket for something, I drive home and I'm like, man, I'm going to go to court and I'm going to fight this, right? And I'm just like, I know I'm in the right. And then I get home and I cool off and I go, oh, it's going to cost me $65. I'm going to have to take a day off of work.
Right.
And I don't. I just pay it, honestly, is what I do, because I know that there is a chain of recourse that I would have to go through to get what I feel is remedy. Okay. Well, the remedy that they're seeking is unattainable. Number one, Minnesota doesn't have the death penalty. So they're already calling for 4 deaths. They want 4 officers to be killed in the state of Minnesota where there's no death penalty. So what does that mean? That means you get to loot and riot and burn things forever? No.
No. I mean, we are here at the Bill Mason Show. We're for equality. We think everybody's the same, no matter what. Again, we just don't like looting, rioting. It's uncalled for. Beating up people just because of their skin color is wrong.
Yeah, regardless.
They should go to jail. If they kill somebody, they should get the death penalty if there's that in the state. So I'm glad Trump is putting his foot down. Hopefully, if these other Democrat governors or mayors don't do anything, we're going to have to call in the military.
And
there's
honestly,
the military right there in Atlanta, right there.
I mean, there's no way around this. So this is a multi-city insurgency. At this point, it is. It's gone beyond being able to send just the National Guard into, for example, New York City, and just say, wow, New York's out of control. New York calls in the National Guard. They put some concertina wire across some streets. They keep people at bay, and it goes away. This is way beyond that. This is trillions of dollars in personal losses for small business owners who are already struggling under the coronavirus lockdown.
Right.
So they literally finish these people off after they shut them down for 3 months. This is the ultimate face punch. And I mean, most of these people didn't do anything. And the craziest thing, okay, just taking Philadelphia and Minnesota, and I don't know about New York City. I didn't look that up today. But Minnesota, 60% of those businesses that were looted and burned were owned by minorities, people of color.
Right.
And in Philadelphia, the number's at 71% now. 71% of the Philadelphia businesses that were looted and burned were minority-owned businesses that not only serviced the community, but employed local people.
Well, I saw a video earlier today. Now, it's like Passover. You have to put a sign outside that says black owned.
Yes.
And then they'll pass over.
And they'll pass over you. No, they'll let you stay. But here's the craziest thing. And when this is, like we talked about this before, when this is all said and done and these businesses open back up, the reason that I think some of these businesses got their windows smashed and broken and stuff is because these people weren't from the local area, and that's going to come up. And right now there's little indicators that people are being bussed in and people are being moved around the country to make these incendiary riots take place. And when that does come up, and this is the genius of Trump, okay, by classifying Antifa as a terrorist organization and getting their text messages, okay, if one of those Antifa guys texted, let's just say Adam Schiff,
right, guys. So there are plain
What
cop
happens
clothes
then?
looking like this right now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Those are plain cop clothes.
What happens then? What happens if Adam Schiff's in contact with Antifa members? I don't know. Let's wait and see.
He needs to go to jail.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, yesterday, of course, we had the White House. A lot happened yesterday. You made the speech, but let's take a look at see what happened during the police movements. Okay.
Yeah.
You're outside the White House where Donald Trump is about to speak. It's getting a bit tense.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We've just had to run about a block as police moved in. We've been fired at with rubber bullets. My cameraman has been hit. We've also seen tear gas being used. Here we go. They're moving through again. This is exactly what it looks like. Exactly what it looks like. We're just staying safely.
Oh.
Whoa. Oh.
Amelia, can you hear us?
Amelia, are you okay? Or your cameraman? Hello, Amelia. The police just charged at Amelia and our 7 News cameraman there, and looks like a policeman just punched our cameraman.
Which is interesting because they're not discriminating between protesters and the media here. Amelia, can you hear us yet?
Amelia, are you there?
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. I am. You heard us yelling there that we were media, but they don't care. They are being indiscriminate at the moment. They chased us down that street, and as you see, they were firing these rubber bullets at everyone. There is tear gas, and now we are really surrounded by the police, and you really saw the way that they dealt with my cameraman Tim. They're quite violent, and they do not care who they're targeting at the moment.
There you go.
Well, you know, the problem is, from when I looked into a few things about being around Washington, D.C. There are times where they can declare. Now, D.C., the District of Columbia, has a different set of rules than anywhere else on Earth. And I mean, it's almost the same. I want to parallel this. There's London and City of London. I don't know if people actually know that there is two separate entities that exist in one city. DC is very like that. Okay, so there's a standard that they can enact that it's like nowhere else on earth. I mean, honestly, if Trump wanted to clear the streets for whatever reason he wanted to, he actually can do that as the executive branch. But of course you're going to hear about people. They were peacefully protesting and he moved all these people out of the way. But what they don't talk about, okay, real quick, I know we got more videos, but they burned a 212-year-old church the night before that every single president of the United States since like 1812 has gone into. Right. So, you know, this is the thing. You can't replace a 212-year-old church. That's something that may be personal to Trump, and he's entitled to it. And honestly, for him to walk across the street during a riot or whatever, I like it. It was like a show of strength. And yeah, there was people there, but guess what? What were they going to do when night fell? They were going to light it on fire again. I mean, this peaceful protest nonsense is BS, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. It's crazy. I mean, just so you be aware, but after this show tonight, we're going to keep the live feed going so we can see all what's going on around the country. We're not going to be commentating, but you're going to be able to see all the videos, all all the cities here.
The insurgency.
Insurgency, yes.
It's an insurgency. That's actually what it is.
Well, let's take a look at one more video. This is the White House video with a little bit of slant for the left. Let's take a look at that.
That's okay.
And mounted police to clear what has been an entirely peaceful protest. Not 98%, not 99%, but 100% peaceful protest here today.
Gosh.
That's a photographer.
That's
going on now.
A member of the press.
Now there's just a...
fired with rubber bullets. My cameraman has been hit. We've also seen tear gas being used. Here we go, they're moving through again. This is exactly what it looks like. Exactly what it looks like. We're to stay safely. Media.
Oh.
Whoa.
There we go. Unbelievable.
It is, you know what? It is what it is at this point. I think a lot of people have seen the leftist spin, and they're almost unaffected by it because there's a way to look at it from just I call it the everything lens, where there really is no like weird focus. You're not looking at it from the left or the right or whatever. You're looking at it like, well, if I was in charge of a country and this was going on in my country, would there be things that I had to do that were like a show of strength or a show of solidarity or whatever? Yeah, I would. And you're going to hear from the left, like some of the people that maybe watch our show and also watch CNN. If you watch CNN, you are going to hear that, oh, Trump's being mean to these Democratic mayors. He's not really supporting them. He's not being nice at all. And that's not helping. Well, the point of help, it's gone. They blew it. They literally had the chance to maintain order in their city, and they didn't. And it's way out of hand to the point where now citizens of the United States, for example, Philadelphia, which is on my personal radar, if you're not 17 to 24, okay, and you're 65, and you're in these neighborhoods, you're a prisoner, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you can't go get your meds or your food or anything at this point. These selfish little sons of whatever have taken that from you. So you've lived here most of your life in the Philadelphia area, and now because these irate little rambunctious SOBs have burned everything to the ground, now you have no access to anything. And that's the thing where Trump is saying, I have to step in because the point where I could have protected these people is now gone, and it's a rebuild, it's a reinforce, it's a establish from scratch. I have to come in like the dad who came home from vacation and their kids threw a party in the house. Right. Trump's like, I'm the dad. I have to throw everybody out of the house, throw the beer kegs on the lawn, and I have to start from scratch and fix the house.
You got to fix the house. Got to put the glass back on the windows.
Right, that is the situation. Yeah. They blew it.
They did.
They partied away, and they literally have no way to fix it. So like, Dad's got to step in and fix their stupid cities that they blew it on, and it's not for the sake of, for people always say, oh, Trump does everything for his own personal agenda. No, because he knows there are people that vote for him, okay, that deserve to be protected, that the Democrats, if you look at their focus, like their little lens, literally focuses on the 18 to 30, right? They don't give a rat's ass about somebody who's 72 years old. I mean, they really have done nothing for them throughout. And I mean, if I could go back into the Clinton era when he raided Medicaid and all that stuff, I mean, they really only have the young, uneducated voter as their base. And then the other part that they have to suction off of is the rich, guilty Hollywood types. I mean, people who got money for nothing. They were always going to be Democrat because they're like, oh, I'm so guilty. I shouldn't have this money. You know what I mean? So, like, anybody who actually busted their ass and worked for a living usually votes conservative. So, like, the Democrats need uneducated, easily, like, I want to say instigated voters, okay? And that's what they have. And you've seen this. This is what they use. So they're going to use this. I mean, Joe Biden is basically hunkered down in a basement. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, they trickle Joe Biden. They're like, go to a black church. Pander, hurry.
He is going to go to George Floyd's funeral, by the way.
Of course he is. I mean, of course he is. And you know what? After I am.
If Trump would be invited, he would go too.
He would absolutely go because the best part about Trump is before he was elected president, he was constantly hanging out with black people like it was no big deal. He hung around with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, and even, you know what I mean, Michael Jackson before he passed. And I mean, you know, when he was, you know, a mogul in New York City, like everybody thought he was a great guy. It wasn't until he ran for president that he became racist.
Oh, of course, yes.
Unreal.
It is unreal. So that's the show tonight. We are going to, again, show the live feeds on live YouTube so everybody can see it after the show, just so you be aware of it. So enjoy that. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Make sure you subscribe, please. And I know you've been talking through the whole show, but Bill, do you have any last words?
Just stay safe. Like wherever you may be, you know, whether it's a metropolitan area, a big city, a little small town, stay safe, because the mentality of the people that are out there right now is not the people you want to deal with. So hunker down. Hopefully this ends soon.
Yes.
And, you know, there's a lot of rebuilding to be done. Hopefully that becomes jobs that are created and you know, a lot of construction work to be done after this.
All right. Well, be safe, and thanks for watching this, and you have a wonderful night.
Good night. See you Thursday.